How's it going, guys? Graydon here, LastPackMagik channel. Welcome to the third portion of my character collecting episodes. I've been doing these, I'm calling these the museum method of character collecting, which sets out some guidelines for the way that I'm doing it and the rules that I've been following. It's been a lot of fun. I hope you guys are getting something out of these videos. I hope you're enjoying the channel and you're subscribed, and we'll continue on as we go. Welcome back, guys, to another character collecting episode on the LPM channel. In this episode, we're going to start talking about the artists that make up our collections. So whether it's cards, original art, sketch cards, or whatever have you, an artist typically created the images that you're collecting. So getting to know these artists, their body of work, the comic appearances that they've had is going to be really important, because the more knowledge that you have about the origin of each image is going to give you a more in-depth understanding of your collection, and it's going to come across as that you actually know what you're talking about when you can reference where these images came from and why they're important. Oftentimes in trading card collectibles, we're going to find cards that have repeat appearances of artwork. Whether it be from different sets or comic cuts or whatever have you, images are going to repeat themselves. And it is really important to know which artist did which work and where that work appeared. I like knowing these types of things so that when a set drops and I see recycled art, I can at least know where it came from. I think it's important to know your collection, know your artists, know your favorites, and have a really good idea of where this great work is coming from, because this is something you're passionate about, and the passion starts at the comic level. A couple of these episodes are going to really focus on your character and the comic books that they originate from. Let's begin by drawing a parallel from a fine art collection known as the Barnes Collection. This is a collection that I am very interested in. It's housed in Philadelphia and is a really good way of looking at how a collection is accumulated and curated. I would like to encourage you guys in your own time to look up the Barnes Collection and the amazing story that goes with it. This collection was assembled by a doctor who was really passionate about modern art and post-impressionism. And this is how I've started to think about my collection. Is I've collected pieces that I think are the best examples from particular artists when it comes to original artwork, like sketch cards. I'm trying to get artists that have done card art to do sketch cards and to have original pieces from, because it really makes the collection that much more unique. When you're flipping through your binders and trying to organize all of this, think about the paintings on the wall. Think about these as being individual pieces that are curated specifically for that wall, and then try to think of your binder pages as the wall. So when you're organizing, putting things together chronologically helps a lot, but there's also a way of doing this with a common style or common artist. You could go by costume, you could go by hairdo, you could get as creative as you want. You could do certain artists' interpretations like Jim Lee costumes for Wolverine and Sabretooth and things like that. You can really get creative. So that's sort of what we're talking about, is knowing your artists here, knowing their work, so that you can start to refine things in a rather sophisticated way and start to put your collection together in a way that not only makes it stand out, but just shows that there's a level of organization that I know many people in the hobby really enjoy. At the end of the day, I think this hobby is about being organized. It's about being a little bit OCD about that organization. And I think that part of the process of putting things together is like a therapy that we all enjoy. It isn't necessarily the end result that we're all just chasing. It really is the process. And I hope that assembling these collections is making you feel as though you're scratching an itch or completing something that's important to you, because that's how I feel about mine. It can be very rewarding putting these together, and it's a ton of work. So enjoy that process and enjoy the friends that you make along the way, because they're going to help you out a lot. We're going to continue going on in this episode about more and more artists. I hope that you guys are enjoying. At this point in the video, you guys, don't be shy to hit that like and subscribe button. So when you begin doing some of your own research about the artwork, you're going to come across a lot of different artists. It can be a little bit overwhelming. I highly recommend you use a source like OA Expo, where they list several artists who are in attendance and start looking through some of their work. You can see their faces, you can find their links, you can look at their personal websites and social medias and really gather a lot of information about them. I'll use my friend Dave Palumbo as an example here. I really enjoy Dave's work. I like knowing a little bit of his backstory, and going to his website really helps you see the style in his portfolio and a little bit about his biography. He was one of the masterpiece artists who did Marvel Masterpieces 2020 and is a really interesting person to have in your collection. He's also very accessible over social media, and that's one of the things that I want to highlight about the Marvel card hobby is how communicating with the artists is a very normal part of this entire thing, and it's really a treat to get to do so. There are also some rather famous artists in the hobby that are not as accessible, such as one of my favorites, Alex Ross. I really enjoy watching his YouTube videos of his process of how he paints. He's incredibly articulate and really knows how to explain what his thought process was while he's creating work. I like watching them to get inspired and have them on in the background as I'm working on my collection in my living room. This is a staple in my house on YouTube. And putting my collection together and listening to the narration of Alex Ross really helps me feel as though that I'm moving in the right direction and putting a lot of thought into what I want my collection to look like. I love going through portfolios of artists on their web pages, such as you see on the screen right now, because it helps me think about how I want my binders to look. When I first came into the hobby, I was always so impressed when I could see people naming artists just by the different work that they saw on cards. When they could look at a sketch card and recognize the style or recognize a card art because they knew it from a comic book image. And I really wanted to be able to do that. So I spent quite a bit of time learning about artists and their aesthetic. And it's become a part of the hobby to me that is almost as enjoyable as just collecting. Learning about the artists and their work has been a pleasure. I find a lot of the artists to be very pleasant people. And I don't know why, but it's easier to enjoy someone's art when you like them and they're easy to communicate with. Dan DeSantos is the final example that I'm going to put up on the screen here. Speaking of pleasant artists who are fantastic and interact with people in the community, Dan does a great job of showing his range of Magic the Gathering cards, Marvel, offering tutorials. He's a very accessible person who was at OAX this year and would really like to encourage you to check out his website. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I've tried to draw some parallels between museum collections of fine art and how your personal collection can look like that within your own home. I really hope that you gathered something from this today and you learned something. I hope you're a subscriber to the YouTube channel, LastPackMagik, but also following me on Instagram. I put a lot of work into my Instagram and I share a lot of fun stuff in my story. Please follow the link in the description if you aren't following and tag along. Tag me and stuff. Drop a comment. Shoot me a DM. I love participating with you guys. I'm always showing off artwork that I'm doing on there, trying to communicate with you guys about what's coming up on the channel next. Doing episodes of binder nights. There's tons of cool stuff on binder nights to check out and live painting and all sorts of fun stuff. This Doom card I'm going to show here was a giveaway on the channel and it was done through Instagram, so I really appreciate when you guys follow. If you guys are interested in seeing my museum style collection, you can go on to Sabertooth PC, which is my other Instagram account, and check it out. It's in the description as well, where I show my personal PC. Most of them are in reels or photos with music. A lot of really fun cards that I've assembled over the years. I'm always working on this page. I'm always updating it, and I really hope you enjoy it. Feel free to drop a comment anywhere you like. If you have any questions, you can feel free to DM.